So South Park just released this newest episode, and this time they're going at everybody involved with Donald Trump. And they take shots at everybody: JD Vance, Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, Mara Lago, ICE, everything. So today, I'm going to take the time to tell you everything that happened in the newest episode of South Park, Season 27, Episode 2. So the episode starts off right back at the school. Jesus is walking around like nothing happened, and we cut to Kyle and Wendy. They seem to be mad about someone, but Cartman doesn't know who, until he hears the name Clyde. See, if you didn't know, Clyde has now opened his own Red Pill podcast where he talks about hating the Jews and not liking women and being anti-abortion. This basically makes him a massive pariah across the school, to the point where he's sent straight to Mr. Mackey's office to figure out what the big issue is. And the ensuing conversation actually shows a lot about what the South Park creators think of Red Pill podcast, where he basically revealed that Clyde's only doing it for the money. Clyde basically says the only reason he does it is for his nut, his income. He needs to pay for things across the week, and making people mad through a Red Pill podcast will do that. It's actually kind of funny because in the episode itself, he has a sponsorship from a protein powder, which is basically Red Pill #1. From here, we actually see PC Principal come into the office and pull Mr. Mackey out, where he reveals he's been fired. Now, the reason's pretty simple. The government has decided that wasteful spending within schools should be cut away, and therefore a council is not needed. This is basically a callback to when Trump defunded the Department of Education. From here, we actually cut back to Clyde's podcast, where we see the new guest for this episode is actually none other than Cartman. Now, throughout the whole episode so far, Cartman's actually been really mad with Clyde because he's basically saying he's stealing his whole shtick. And funnily enough, Clyde kind of confirms it by showing that his hashtag is actually called Respect Clyde's Authority, which is of course a callback to the Cartman episode. And this basically makes Cartman go insane. Now, right after this, we actually cut straight to a bank scene where we see Mr. Mackey talking to a broker. Now, the broker basically tells Mr. Mackey he can't afford his finances, and Mr. Mackey can't get a job because there's no one hiring counselors. Now, this actually leads the broker to recommend Mr. Mackey join ICE. Now, first Mackey's against it for moral reasons, but then the broker mentions it's paying $100,000 a year. Now, this makes Mackey instantly agree, and then we cut to a scene of him in the car watching an ICE ad. Now, the ad itself is actually kind of funny. It's basically a jingle where they say whether you're lazy, crazy, fat, a liar, uneducated, it doesn't matter, they'll take you, which I had to say was pretty funny. Now, from here, we actually cut back to the school where we see Clyde's now running a panel on school campus debating kids. And I find it kind of funny how they poke at the Red Pill college campus thing, where basically every time they make a point, instead of responding to it directly, they go to another point saying you don't like this or you don't like that, which I thought was funny. Good Charlie Kirk reference. And then out of nowhere, we see Cartman dressed up as Charlie Kirk jump Clyde, beat the shit out of him, and then take over the panel and start debating people on abortion. And I gotta say, it was pretty funny when they made a joke about how Charlie Kirk's hair sucked. From here, we actually cut back to Mr. Mackey, this time in the ICE office going through the instructional video. Now, this video is actually insane. It's basically Kristi Noem spending the whole time shooting puppies. Now, if you didn't know, this is a massive callback to when Kristi Noem admitted on stage that she shot her own 14-month-old dog. Oh, also, they make a joke about her Botox and that her face is constantly falling off. Now, the second the instructional video ends, they basically say, okay, you're ready, let's go on our first raid. Now, if you haven't noticed, the whole episode's basically been a back and forth between Mackey's perspective and the Clyde and Cartman perspective. So now, back to Cartman, we basically see him debating college girls on campus until, oh wait, he's on a computer, actually on the toilet. This leads to an awkward scene where his mother walks past the room, asks what he's doing, and he says, I'm master debating. What the hell? Basically, throughout the whole episode, Cartman's been calling himself a master debater, which is a whole joke on, like, This leads to yet another funny scene where basically Cartman's mother walks in his room and he's on his computer saying, stop, I'm master debating. It's basically this weird back and forth because she doesn't get what he means and he's not being really open about it. Now, what I found funniest about these scenes is because we're basically hearing Cartman actually say Charlie Kirk arguments. For example, the double homicide argument. Which is pretty funny because, as Cartman says, the argument is, if a fetus isn't a child, then why is it double homicide when you kill a pregnant lady? Which, while I find all these arguments ridiculous and I disagree with them, I do find it kind of funny that they're putting this much effort into this episode. Now, from here, we actually cut back to Mackey in the raid situation where we see the raids actually at a Dora the Explorer concept, which, Jesus Christ. From here, we see them run through the raid, tackle every dad in the stadium, and then put him in trucks. Also, while this is all happening, Mr. Mackey is constantly apologizing, saying, sorry, I need my nut. Now, from here, we actually see Kristi Noem going to tell everyone to stand down, and then she sees a service dog and has to shoot it. From here, we actually see Kristi Noem commending Mackey, saying he's one of the top recruits, and while this is all happening, her face slowly falls off. We then see a bunch of makeup artists come in and put her face right back on right before the cameras appear. From here, we cut to downtown where we see massive ICE protests happening, and we see a preacher say the following: even illegal immigrants can make it into heaven, which then cuts to ICE now raiding heaven. This is insane. We literally see angels getting tackled. We see Kristi Noem saying tackle the brown ones, and then we see her shoot a dog with a halo. Jeez, they're going hard on Kristi Noem this episode, and I find it hilarious. Now, from here, we actually cut to something called the Charlie Kirk Awards, where we basically see the statue as Charlie Kirk with their infamous smile. Yes, the trophy is that smile from Jubilee. Now we're seeing the final trophy being given to the master debater, and of course Cartman thinks he's going to win it, but then they give it to Clyde. Now of course the prize itself also includes an all-paid expense vacation, which leads to Cartman screaming and kicking as his mother's dragging him out of the theater. Now from here we actually cut back to Mr. Mackey, who's now back at the bank, and the broker reveals he still can't pay his nut because it's larger now. This then leads to Kristi Noem coming out of nowhere and saying to Mr. Mackey that the president would like to pay your nut and invite you to Mara Lago. Now from here we actually cut to Donald Trump in a white suit leaving the hotel along a bunch of suspiciously aged massage therapists. And also alongside him we see JD Vance in a white suit, and he's also a little person. Now from here we actually see Trump showing Mr. Mackey across Mara Lago as he asks him to take over Kristi Noem's spot as the head of Homeland Security. Now of course Mr. Mackey is saying yes because he wants the big pay bump to pay his nut, and this leads Trump to take him into the bedroom. Now the second we enter the bedroom we actually see Satan in bed, and then we see Trump take all his clothes off as he tries to get Mr. Mackey to have sex with him. And on top of that we also see JD Vance enter with a bowl of baby oil, seeing if Trump needs it. Now after this we see Mr. Mackey run out of the room screaming as he runs into each room and seeing every old man getting a massage, which of course you get the implication. Now you see after the fifth room we actually see him run into Clyde. Clyde's in a room on his own with video games, and you see Clyde hates it there. He didn't want this. He didn't want to take it this far, and all he wanted was a little bit of money. This leads to Clyde and Mr. Mackey basically having a one-on-one conversation heart to heart about how they're willing to do bad things just to make a bit of money and how they shouldn't be. This then leads them to agree that they're gonna find some help to try and escape Mara Lago. Now from here we actually see none other than Crypto, Superman's dog, flying through the sky trying to save them until he's shot down by Kristi Noem with a sniper rifle, because of course she has to do that. After this we see Kristi Noem turning on Donald Trump after she heard he was trying to replace him, and then her face falls on the ground, becomes possessed, and attacks everyone in Mara Lago. Now while this is all happening and Kristi Noem's face is attacking everybody, we actually see Clyde and Mr. Mackey work together, find a plane, and then go right out of it. Now from here we actually see the ICE agents find Kristi Noem's face, put it back on her body, and then her and Trump seemingly make up. Now from here this is pretty much the end of the main episode until you see the credits where we see Kristi Noem walking into a pet store and shooting all the dogs. Now I actually like this episode a lot. I thought it was really smart of South Park to go at everyone Trump's associated with: JD Vance, Kristi Noem, Mara Lago, etc. I also think the message of the episode was really well done. It's basically you shouldn't compromise your own ethics for financial gain. And I like how they illustrate this by showing Clyde's perspective and Mr. Mackey's perspective, especially from two different age groups. It's basically two sides of the same coin. On one side you see the ignorance of a child, and on the other you see the desperation of an adult. Now something pretty interesting is that the trailer for the episode had clips that didn't appear in the episode. For example, Trump rubbing on Satan's leg, which judging by the episode itself I actually don't even see a place where this clip could have appeared, which makes me think it's actually going to be in the next episode, which means we're most likely seeing a third episode going at Trump, which I find hilarious. All these episodes have been super funny and I'm super excited to see what they do next. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and tell me what you think about this episode in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know.